Year. Let me be the first one to say it. Okay, I'm probably not the first one to say it to you, but I get to say it. Happy New Year. Happy first day of 2025. This is amazing. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to feel. I don't know if I have words just to kind of like think about, wow, like I get to start the year with my God and Gigs community. I get to start the year really giving God thanks and praise for amazing blessings that He's bestowed upon me, upon our Guided Gates community, my family, like all the things. It is just an amazing time. But I hope you have had a wonderful, wonderful start already. We're only, what, 13 hours in to 2025. So I pray that you've already started your year feeling great, feeling like God has really given you an amazing start to the year already. If you're new to God and Gigs and you're like, this is the first time I've been seeing you or hearing about this thing, God and Gigs, well, thank you for starting your year with us. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the host and founder of God and Gigs, and we are here to help you as a creative musician, freelancer, artist, anyone in the intersection of the arts, entertainment, and ministry to survive and thrive in every area of your creative life. That'd be spiritually, financially, and relationally. We want you to become the creative that you were created to be. We've been here since 2016 as a book and platform. Podcast came around in 2017. So we've been in this for the long haul. I have been so blessed to help hundreds and hundreds of creatives to find their path, to find the connection between their spiritual life and their creative life. And now we're in a new year, and it's just amazing that I get to continue to do this. So if you're new, thank you for following. Please subscribe. Please tell other people in your creative circles about this. What I'm finding more and more is that the biggest epidemic in our society is loneliness and feeling disconnected and isolation. And as you'll see in a second, when I share what we've been doing in our God and Gigs 360 membership, you'll see that we're really bridging the gap. We're destroying isolation between Christian creatives, faith-focused creatives, high character creatives, and we're banding together and we're ending this whole one man is an island, every creative's for himself. You've got to, figure it out on your own. Go out there and just try to make it as a musician, or artist, or a freelancer without any support. Like that's let's leave that in 2024. So if you're new to us, thank you. Remember, those of you who are watching for the first time, I can't pull your comments up on screen. So if you comment right now, I can pull it up. So let me know how your new year is already going. It also helps me to make sure that the sound is working when you guys respond. So comments help the engagement. Comments help me make sure that the tech is working. Comments help me make sure that I'm responding to your needs right now, because these live streams, we're doing 12 of them in a row. We've done 6. We're in the midway point. And so actually, normally we do a newsletter on Wednesdays, but I decided to hold off on the newsletter because it was the first day of the year. And I really would rather focus on this live and really make sure that I get all the content. So we might send a newsletter tomorrow just as so we don't miss a week. But I really felt like this was the core message for today. So if we're going to do it through video versus our live stream, versus our newsletter, which normally comes out today. So, like I said, if you are watching right now on Facebook or YouTube, let us know. If you're watching on replay, let me know. Let me kind of get some of these windows closed. And then I was going to check in on Facebook or see if there's anybody watching in Facebook, and make sure it went to the group. Make sure that you let StreamYard know. You have to do this little funny thing where you have to let StreamYard know that you want your name to be shown. So you have to show that. But as far as I can tell, I think we're good in terms of our tech. I want to check real quick and make sure. Yep, looks like our mic is working. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And as you guys know, this is our, 7th day of our best year ever. 12 days to your best creative year ever. It has been incredible. Honestly, I did not expect the kind of response we've been getting. I had not expected people to jump in every day, whether it was from work, whether they were off, whether they were on vacation. And that was my big worry. I was like, this is vacation time. Who's going to even be here? Yet every single day I've seen either people coming in live or on the replay saying, I love this content. I want to have my creative best year ever. And that means that we're going to keep doing it all the way to January 6th. If you didn't know, the 12 days of Christmas is actually the day after Christmas, all the way through what do you call through Three Kings Day. That's January 6th, and so that is actually when it actually ends. So, like I said, feel free to keep celebrating and keep your tree up if that's the case, because some of us don't take our trees down for a long time, but officially it's still the 12 days of Christmas. And so we aligned that with our own 12 days of creative best year ever, 2 year creative best year ever. Let me do something real quick. I want to send this link. I'm going to do this while you guys are watching. Apologize. But let's see. How do I look at my own channel without? Hopefully you guys won't hear this. Good. I want to make sure you heard it. Share. There we go. I just want to make sure I send this to a couple more people who I know might want to check in. And here we go. You guys you'll laugh when you'll see who I just invited. All right. All right, here we go. So, number one, like I said, Happy New Year. This is my just big shout out to everyone. 2025 is here. It's funny. I was laughing when I was talking to a couple of friends of mine. Y'all probably have guessed. If you didn't, I may look young, but I'm not young. I hit 50 last year. This is going to be magic 51 coming up in June. So I've been around a little bit, and we were laughing about how 2025 just sounds like a year that back in year 2000, when we thought the year was the world was gonna end because of Y2K. Like, these are numbers that didn't even fathom. Like, there was a movie called 2012 that thought the world was going to end in 2012, and then but there's just numbers now that are like, really, we're like 25 years into 2000. We're thank God 5 years past COVID, at least the pandemic part of it. This is just incredible that we have reached this level. So we just got to thank God that we made it, y'all, that you are standing in the land of the living. And I want to make sure I give a shout out to everyone and say we're praying for you to have an amazing 2025. I also want to give a shout out to everyone that is in 360 Gold. I wanted to post this. Hopefully they won't mind me posting a little piece of the chat from our prayer chat, because this just blessed my heart. Like, reading these comments, and again, in our God and Gigs 360 Gold membership, we have a dedicated prayer chat. And that's one thing that I don't think I can have to compete with anybody else in any other's membership when it comes to business, finance, creativity, or productivity. They may have a spiritual component, but I don't know if they have a dedicated line just for prayers and praise reports. And that's exactly what we have here in 360 Gold in our membership. And you can just see where people are thanking God for each other. Like, that's what's really powerful about this, is that people are thanking God for each other, the relationships we built in this membership that are not limited and stuck because of Facebook or because of algorithms or because of YouTube. None of those things take place inside our own app. That's why it was so important for me to build a place where we had a place, a space, and a voice that was unaffected by anybody else's comments when it comes to how they feel about faith, how they feel about Christianity. We are open to all kinds of high character creatives, but we are unapologetically Christian in terms of our belief system. And so this is where I believe 2025, the biggest growth will happen. Will be with these folks, not because necessarily of what I share in terms of content, but because of the connections that they built with each other and the help and the encouragement they have from each other. So if you're interested in jumping in, as I mentioned a couple of days ago, if you join during this week, you will be able to get a membership to not only the God and Gigs 360 Gold through our program, but also you'll get 12 bonus tips, which will allow you to get 12 tips from other experts. I just got my third commitment. So I got 6 more days. I got 3 more days to get, no, let's see, 6, I got 5 more days. Can't do the math to get the rest of the experts in, but I will because last year I got them all in as well. And so you'll have 12 expert tips along with all the content and bonuses we have in 360 Gold, which is access to all of our membership communities, access to all of our templates and workshops, from how to build your best financial creative year to how to build up your platform to how to start a podcast. All of these things are all just there waiting for you once you join 360 Gold. So again, shout out to these folks. I'm praying for every single one, from Pamela to Simony to Charmaine to all the other members that are in the 360 program. I am so grateful for you. Now then, we are starting off the year. And because we're starting off the year, you all know that this is the time that everybody jumps into the gym. Everybody jumps into, what do I need to get, my gym clothes? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to start a new diet. I'm going to do all these things, right? So usually this part of the year is when everybody has their New Year's resolutions. And I'm not hating on all of them, but I'm just going to say this like this and be very clear. If you don't have the right tools to do the things that you say you're going to do, it doesn't matter how much commitment you have, you're going to end up failing. So that could work both ways, right? You can buy the tools without the commitment. But without the tools, you can't really do anything that is the exact right thing to do, because you need the tools in order to complete the commitment. So that's why I suggest you head to godandgigs.com/toolkit. And that's where you'll see all of the recommended tools we use, including this one that we use to stream, which is called StreamYard, including a lot of the other ones, which I'll go ahead and kind of fast forward to that. There it is. The tools I'm mentioning right now are these kind of tools. Mini chat for social, where you don't have to stay on your social media all the time to respond to people and tell them where to get links and where to get things. Kit is what we use for our email and our landing pages. I need to change that. We use Senja for testimonials. The testimonials you'll see pop up every once in a while in our social are made in Senja, and they're made within 5 to 6 minutes, like tops. And I get all these great testimonials from people about my music or about our shows and everything, and I can put it into social like that with Senja. Skip, man, if you all love Skip. I'm about to talk about Skip in a second. StreamYard I mentioned, or Mighty Networks, or Buy Me a Coffee. All of these are must-have tools for 2025. I highly suggest you check out the toolkit, godandgigs.com/tools. And I just mentioned Skip because, man, y'all are in love with Skip. I've been kind of tempted to kind of downplay it, because I was like, well, I don't want everybody just to think that's all I talk about. But this has become like a lightning rod. I did not realize how much y'all needed and wanted more business funding help. Now, maybe I should have seen that coming. Maybe I missed that, or maybe, I need to do better at asking questions. But the response to the Skip website for us sharing it has been greater than any other offer. Honestly, even our own offers, I could even say. You guys have been responding like gangbusters to the grant opportunities. I've mentioned that they help you apply to the BOI funding thing, or the application to report that has been going back and forth. So I didn't even mention that because it's crazy. But all that you can do at Skip, and this is one of those 2025 goals. If you've been trying to grow your creative brand, business, and platform, and you're dealing with cash flow crunches, or really dealing more about cash flow crunches, everyone needs more cash. We all need more funding to do what we are built to do and what we are trying to do. This is an incredible platform to do it. And like I said, all of the God and Gigs folks are jumping on. They're getting the Skip Plus, which is, there's a free version and then there's a paid version. And the paid version is $20 a month. It allows you to use AI. It applies for grants for you. It does so much stuff. You can get business plans and things like that filled out. Like, this is an amazing way to start the year. And again, I'm just talking about it because y'all have been like, I've never seen more people jump in from God and Gigs on a program like I have Skip. It has been like crazy how many folks have been going. So go to godandgigs.com/skip if you're interested in that, which I believe all of you should be, in terms of getting more funding in 2025. All right, let's quickly do this and then we'll get into today's topic. As you can see, in terms of our events, right now we are in the 12 days to your best creative year ever. Started on Thursday, ends on Monday. We'll do a recording on Monday because I'll be in my church retreat, staff retreat or staff planning, but I will go ahead and make sure that goes out. If you join before December 6th, you get the 12 bonus tips from our guest established creative experts. Then on Friday, January 10th, this is big. I want you all to be a part of our Your Art, God's Heart devotional. And this is the devotional that we wrote back, I want to say I wrote it in 2019. Since then, I have seen so many testimonies of folks who have been blessed by this devotional. It's 21 days, bite-sized devotionals. I want to be very clear about that. This is not one of those books that you have to read for 20 years. It's literally like a 10, maybe 5-minute devotion tops. But when you do it every day for 21 days, you build the habits, and most importantly, the lessons are biblical explanations of creative issues that we deal with, whether it be productivity, whether it be focusing on the right things, keeping your mind pure. All of these things are inside the devotional, directly related to the creative life, which, as far as I know, I have not seen very many devotionals who actually express here's how creatives can connect the dots between what you do creatively and how you are praying and living spiritually. So that starts on January 10th through the 31st. January 10th through the 31st. So go ahead and get your book now. You got 10 days to get your book. All right. The 10th through the 31st. And then after that, we will go into some other challenges throughout the year. But the first one will be the Your Art, God's Heart devotional. So I would love for you guys to sign up. Go to yourartgodsheart.com. Actually, there's really nothing to sign up for. You just grab the book and then be part of God and Gigs 360 and or be part of the Facebook group. I'll allow for that because, it helps just to be able to talk to everyone. But most of the work will happen inside of the community, inside God and Gigs 360. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get your books. You need to go ahead and grab that now, because if you're shipping it and getting it shipped, you need to order it right away so that it will get there by the 10th. And that's why I want to make sure I tell you about it right now. On Monday, January 13th, we have our first Gold Mastermind Meetup. That's where all of our God and Gigs Meetup, our Mastermind members get together. And then finally, January 16th to the 19th, I'll be speaking at PodFest, which is in Orlando. And I love to see some of you there, whether you're a podcaster or not. And our most recent episode was how to visualize your best creative year ever, which is basically a Cliff Notes version of the 12 themes that I'm sharing in each day. So if you want to hear it all really fast, at 15 minutes, go check that out. It's episode 316, godandgigs.com/316. All right. We are now on day 7, becoming unmistakably excellent at your craft to have your best year ever. And so, let's get over here. Yeah, I think I will leave it like that. I was going to change it a little bit, but I think I'll leave it like this for today. Hopefully I'm not too small. So here's what I would love to share. And by the way, we are going to do a giveaway. And those of you who are watching who know I'm a huge fan of Jordan Rayner, this is the book I would love to give to one of you today. And I may just give it to our live viewers. That might be our big thing. I might just say, hey, you got to show up live to do the giveaway. And so we have already given away Redeeming Your Time. I'm giving away a copy of this. I've given away, what was the first one? I gave away a copy of Your Art, God's Heart. We gave a $20 gift card away. And then today I would love to give this book to somebody. And I'll explain why, because it has a lot to do with today's topic. And the whole point of today is doing something excellent to become unmistakably excellent at your craft this year. So first, let's talk about, what does unmistakably excellent mean? What does unmistakably excellent mean? Well, there's two parts of this word, right? One is excellent. So I could easily go to the Bible and just say, you know what? Our most clear example of excellence is God himself. God does not do anything that is not excellent. How excellent is his name, the Bible says. His name is excellent. Everything he does is excellent. And excelling, of course, break the word down, is to be greater than, excel, greater or better than any other comparative thing in that category. So excellent. God obviously is the only true God, and he is excellent. He excels everything that we could ever put in comparison to it. He excels at his love. He excels in grace. He excels in mercy. He excels in creativity. Like nobody matches him, right? So that's kind of like the excellent. And then the unmistakable, let's throw that in. And I borrowed this topic or this idea from a book that I read about being unmistakable. I love this comment or this quote that really being unmistakable is when nobody is ever questioning who did the thing that they did. That your work is unmistakable. That you don't have to think about being compared, that someone says, oh, you copied this, copied that. If it's unmistakable, you know exactly who it is. When you see, you can think of all the different kind of artworks that are unmistakable when it comes to be poets, a Sandberg poem, a Carl Sandburg poem, or a Walt Whitman poem, or a Maya Angelou poem. Unmistakable. As soon as you hear it, you know, hey, that's Maya Angelou. That's something of rare power and excellence. It could be music, hearing a piece by Bach, a composer like Mozart, a jazz piece by Coltrane. Unmistakable. You can't, like, people have been obviously been inspired by these folks for decades, for years, for centuries. But the original is unmistakable. The original writing of a novel like a Mark Twain novel is unmistakably Mark Twain. It's unmistakable in terms of, let's talk, we did say music. I said Coltrane. I could think of obviously the Princes and the Michael Jacksons and the Bob Dylans. These people, there's no like comparison in terms of, oh, I think it's a little more like this than this. I'm not sure which one it is. They are unmistakably excellent. And I love to put the excellent side because unmistakable could be unmistakably bad. We don't want to be unmistakably bad. We want to be unmistakably excellent. So let's talk a little bit about where you can get to be unmistakably excellent. So the first part of this really requires us to be honest with ourselves, which is, how do we really apply ourselves to the level of excellence that we seek to be at a top level in our craft, field, niche, talent, whatever that is? Well, here's the hard part. The hard part is excellence first requires us to sacrifice a lot. And I know we talk about balance in this platform a lot. We talk about rhythm and keeping your life at a certain balance. But to be unmistakably excellent requires you to go beyond the next person when it comes to preparation and practice and dedication to your art and to your craft. And the Bible is really kind of clear about that. And I know that oftentimes I use our scriptures to refer to how we need to treat each other, how do we need to treat our children and our spouses and things like that. But the Bible is also very clear about being excellent when the Bible says, in as much as you do anything, do it all to the glory of God, right? So to be excellent and to do this to the glory of God requires us to go the extra mile and to be as good as possible. Paul talks about being disciplined and having the ability to kind of discipline his body. He's talking in terms of not just his spiritual life, but he's also kind of relaying to everything in his life. Like, he's not going to be mastered by anything. He's going to be the best that he can be at this thing, whatever it is. Tent making, could have been evangelism at the time when he was talking about it, but he was refusing to be limited by a lack of discipline. And so our discipline in how we apply ourselves to our craft really is the first step to becoming excellent. And as I mentioned, you've probably heard, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but you've probably heard the 10,000 hours rule. If you haven't, this is kind of like a common term that was popularized by Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers. I need to put that on my book list. I don't think I've ever read Outliers all the way through. Actually, I read David and Goliath. That's another great one, David and Goliath. But I don't think I read Outliers yet, or I read it a long time ago. But the point of Outliers is trying to figure out why do certain people rise to this certain level. And one of the quotes, one of the studies points to the 10,000 hour rule, which is you must apply yourself 10,000 hours to a certain skill, practice regimen or whatever that is to become a top level, someone that is unmistakably amazing at their craft or a master at their craft, which is why, like I said, Master of One is the book I'm going to probably give away to someone today. But here's the thing, that book oftentimes gets misconstrued, or the rule gets misconstrued. The problem is that oftentimes we think that 10,000 hours simply means just doing something for 10,000 hours means you're going to get good at it. And that's not what it is. Angela Duckworth, in her book, Grit, says that this requires 10,000 focused, deliberate practice hours. So now you got to look at yourself. What kind of practice are you going to be doing on your craft? Just I'm doing it kind of practice? Just I need to make money, so I'll go ahead and just throw this out kind of practice? Or the deliberate practice which says, I don't stop until I'm better. I will pick one thing about this particular craft, whether it's music, drawing, art, graphic design, photography, videography, writing, whatever it is. Like, I'm going to devote 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Now, let's break that down in math, because I wasn't even thinking about this, but we could break this down in a math situation. If you were to say 10,000 hours, let's actually do the math right now, because I had to pull up my calculator. Can't even talk, but let's see if we can pull this up without losing you guys, because I want to do the math right now. Let's see here. I just lost you. Make sure it's not full screen. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to divide 10,000 hours. Let's share the screen right now. Why not? I don't think you guys want to just hear me talk about it. Let's actually look at the calculator. So 10,000 hours. And let's see. First, we need to say that there's 7 days in a week, right? So we're going to divide this by 7. Oh, no, let's do 52 weeks a year. So let's do 10,000 by 52 weeks. Hope I did that right. Whoops. Messed that up. Let's try it again. So you can see I'm failing with my typing. Let's do it by divided by. I got to measure all this out. Look at this, me struggling with calculator. Divided by. Thank you. So 10,000 hours by 52. So 192 hours per week. Okay. Now, obviously, we don't have 192 hours per week. So, we have 168 per week, right? So now I got to figure out, all right, how could I get 10,000 hours in a practice into 1 year? Well, according to this, 192 hours per week, you would have to practice. You couldn't squeeze it out, right? That's just not going to work if I did my math right there. So let's do it this way. Let's say I'm just going to practice 3 hours a week, 5 times a week, 15, 52 weeks. That's 780 hours. So 780 hours, and now you can see why the math wasn't really working, because that's not even 1,000 hours. And Malcolm Gladwell and these other folks are saying you got to get to 10,000 hours of dedicated practice to become great at something. So now you can kind of see why you have to go beyond the norm. I just put down 3 hours of practice every single week of this year, and that would only get you to 780. If you want to become great at something, you will have to push. Now, I got to be really careful how I say this, because I know as soon as I say it, it can seem like I'm saying, oh, well, now you got to throw your entire life away and do nothing but work on your art, work on your craft, work on your gift in order to get good. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that for you to become unmistakably excellent, there has to be a level of commitment that does look a little bit out of balance while you're focusing on the thing. So for that 780 hours, that will have to eventually build up into more and more and more time. And of course, this is kind of like exponential, because obviously after you spent 3 hours, 5 hours a day, or 5 times a week, you start to get even more and more better at this stuff. And like those hours start to become more and more effective and more powerful. And so it's not like each hour is equally, effective. Your 780th hour of practice is way more effective than your first one, because now you've learned how to practice. You learned how to work on your craft. You've learned how to work on it. But as you can see, the real struggle is, where do I find the time? Where do I find a gift? Especially if you are a hobbyist, if you are consider yourself an amateur and you don't think that you really have the time for this, you might say to yourself, "Oh, I just don't have time. I don't have 780 hours a year." Okay, but what do you have? And here's the most important part of this: it's not the amount of time; it's how focused can you be during the time. When you are focused on this stuff, how focused can you be to the point that you are really, 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 really only serious about making sure that you fix that piece of the music that you can't get right, that you only learn that riff, that you block out everything else so that only that matters at that point. Remember, this is about being about ending the multitasking. So many creatives I know feel like they're kind of stuck because they're kind of like going back and forth over and over and over. So if you're watching right now and you're thinking to yourself, I don't have enough time to spend 10,000 hours to get unmistakably excellent, what are you doing with the time you have? Can you spend that 30 minutes that you do have and block out everything and then make it more intentional each time you sit down to work on your craft? Make it where you are not letting your phone get in your way. You're not letting other distractions. You're not honestly self-talking yourself into, oh, this is horrible, this sucks, I'm not good. You're not letting your self-talk eliminate your creative power or your creative focus. But you really are making that a priority. We talked about this a couple of days ago. I've been doing a lot of good teaching. I'm just gonna be straight up with you, honestly. I think about this stuff. Like if I had this when I was growing up, I would have been like so much better because I thought it was the hours I spent practicing and not the amount of intention I spent practicing. So the whole point of this is how can you then organize and set up processes that allow you to be focused, to have that intentional work day after day after day, to build up to that 10,000 hours eventually over time that makes you unmistakably excellent. And I would say, like I said, we're going to do a consistent creative challenge at some point. It has to do a lot with enhancing your environment, which letting your distractions get taken care of by creating distraction free zones, whether it's phone free, whether it's person free, whatever that is that you have to like to create these distraction free zones to really work on the thing that you're working on. And many other, there's like 5 things I don't want to give you all away, but they're all in our consistent creative challenge that we do pretty much every year. I can't wait to do that. But elevating your efficiency, enhancing your environment, these are all parts of making your best creative year ever, one that you focus on your craft. Now, I could go on and on about this, but I'm going to focus on one other part, which is other people. Being unmistakably excellent at your craft has a very, okay, and I'm going to be real, it's going to be hard for me to talk about this without sounding like I'm kind of tooting my own horn, but in certain areas in musicianship, I've gotten to a great place in my life where I do feel like I'm getting better and I'm recognized as a pretty skillful musician. But I realized that one of the reasons that I got to that level is because I was willing to be a student and to hang around other amazing musicians who pushed me and made me want to be better. And here's where your relationships inside your creative community are paramount. You cannot become unmistakably excellent at your craft and be isolated in your creative relationships. You have to be willing to be around other unmistakably excellent musicians and creatives and artists, because that doesn't rub off on you as much as it challenges you and inspires you, and it reminds you that there's space for you, even if they are amazing, and you can feel like you want to crawl under a rock when you hear them, right? Like that's kind of like the musician thing. Like we say we want to be around other musicians, but then we feel like dirt because these guys play rings around us, and we're like, oh my god, like I don't want to touch the instrument after you touched it. The same thing could be said for a lot of comparison, but at the same time, unless you are around these other artists, you don't know what unmistakable excellence looks like. So this year, if you want to have your best creative year ever, commit to hanging out and being in these spaces with other excellent artists. For me, That involves like going to the Ground Up Festival here, where Snarky Puppy is an amazing jazz band, fusion band, kind of like a collective of musicians. I make it there as many years as I can when they come down to Miami. I don't play. I have some friends that are part of kind of in that makeup, that collective, but I'm just there to soak up the amazingness and to remind myself that here's the excellence that's available and accessible and that I can strive for, and exposing myself to it. It could be records, it could be other musicians that I follow on social media, and I just want to remind myself and I check them out and I just see how dope they are. And being unmistakably excellent requires me to like follow unmistakably excellent people and unmistakably excellent musicians and artists and creatives, and stay in that world where my mind is expanding constantly to what they have achieved, but never getting to the point where I compare myself, where I don't want to try it, or I feel like I'm too small, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it. They've made it, because they had to deal with that same kind of comparison trap too, and they overcame it, and they're doing amazing stuff. So why wouldn't I step forward and stick with it and stay with that? Okay, so those, I mean, I could go on and on about this. Like you can see, I try to give you guys these nuggets of 12 days to your best creative year ever, because most of this will be stuff that will walk out. This will be our theme in July to God and Gigs 360 Gold, where we're going to dig deep into this, and we're going to just spend an entire month talking about how to become the best creative you can. And here's the cool thing, that will land in July, which for many of us in the music world at least, it's kind of like a slow time. So I love this already, because even as I think about it, I'm like, this is the perfect time for us to focus on our creative gifts. Because if you're not doing as much like gigging and working and running around, and it's kind of like a slow time of the year, and it's like vacation, and people are kind of like turning off things, then now you can kind of say, you know what? Let me spend this month just focusing on like getting away with my instrument, getting away with my music, getting away with my creative set, my drawings, and just spend some time doing that. Like this is going to be a wonderful time during the summer, but wouldn't it be great that, I'm going to pull up my calculator again. Wouldn't it be great if you just committed yourself, where'd it go? Present. Oh, here we go. If you just committed yourself to 780 hours of dedicated practice, 780 hours. And again, we said that is, let's do the math one more time. Good to see you. Simony is here, our ambassador of 360. Awesome to see you. Happy New Year, my sister. How are you? I hope you're doing amazing. I am so glad to kind of like see that my community is continuing to root for me and hang out with me, and us, all of us in 360. But we're doing this 10,000 hours kind of rule here, and we're talking about how can we get the most dedicated practice slash creative focus so that we can have the best creative year we ever had. So we said, let's do it this way. Let's take that 700. You know what? Let's see if we can get to 1,000 hours. So if we're going to get to 1,000 hours of practice this year, and we're going to divide it by 52. So that's 19 hours. That doesn't sound that bad. 19 hours a week. Okay? So how can we get 19 hours a week of practice? Well, if you're going to practice and do your work every day, let's say you're not going. No, let's take a day off. Let's say it's going to be 6. So 19 divided by 6. Whoops, did I get that right? I think I missed the number. 19 divided by I got to repeat it. See, I messed it up. 19 divided by 6. So we're going to take Sunday off. Yeah, still 3 hours. Okay, so 3 hours of dedicated work on your practice a day. Oh, that's right, because we increased it to 1,000. So 1,000 hours. So we're trying to get to 1,000 hours of practice, 1,000 hours of dedicated work on your craft. And by the way, for all the musicians in the room, Courtney and my friend Courtney and I were talking on the way to our New Year's gig last night. And we were like, half of our work, our practice happens in the car. Simony, you know this for a fact. I know you've had a lot of practice sessions headed to church. Don't lie to me. You gotta help me out here. A lot of our practice happens. And here's the funny part about that. You might say, oh well, that's not real practice because you're not at like at the piano. You're not at like, oh, I'm not sitting in a little studio like that. That is still dedicated focus, even if you are driving. And I know I just said you shouldn't have anything else going on, but like when I am focused on my music and I'm thinking and I'm driving, I'm still kind of like multitasking a little bit, but like that I think counts. Because at the moment, like other than just making sure you don't run off the road, your entire brain is like rehearsing the songs. Your entire brain is kind of focused on this. So I will count the driving time. I'll just give my own definition of focus. I think when you're driving, she said, see, I agree. See, she agrees with me. See, facts. All right. So we are agreeing that you don't necessarily need to be sitting at a piano, sitting at a desk for it to be focused creative time or working on your craft. But it's got to be clear that your number one priority is on that gift and that talent and that work and not on like, oh, let me go answer the phone. Oh, let me go do this. Oh, doing that. So I think many of us could carve out 3 hours a day becoming unmistakably excellent, picking something that you want to be really good at and say, I'm not going to get up until I have this scale down. I'm not going to get up until I have written out this chapter. I'm not going to get up until I have finished this thing, and I'm going to get my word count for the writers in the room. I'm going to get to my word count today, 500 words a day, 600 words a day, 700 words a day. And that compounding of 3 hours, 2 hours, maybe you don't have 3 hours. Let's make it much less onerous for some of you. Let's say it's half that. Let's say it's 1.5 hours. And let's say we're only going to do it 4 days a week, right? And then we're going to do that for 52 weeks. That's still 300 hours, 312 hours. That is, even now that I say it, I know we were talking about 10,000 hours as like the level for mastery. But even as I say, 312 hours of dedicated practice over the year, would you not be way better at your gift and your calling and becoming closer to being unmistakably excellent with 312 hours of focused work on that particular skill? I mean, this is where the numbers become less about how many and more again about how effective. If you are effective use of your time and your practice and your habitual work on your craft is reaching 300, 400, 500 hours a year. And then let's break that down one more time. Let's just say by quarter. All right. So we're going to break this up into 4 quarters. So 78 hours a quarter. For the next 3 months, can you dedicate, let's just round it up to 80. Can you dedicate 80 hours of work over the next 90 days on your craft? If you think you could do that, I'm going to go ahead and put you on because I see we have some viewers here that were able to come in live. Let me just see a yes in the comments. A yes, if you could put 80 hours of dedicated practice / quality work into your art in 90 days. See, because now it starts to sound like, well, that's easy, right? Because I just did it. I just broke down the quarters, 300 hours into 1 year, which is only 80 or so, right? Charmaine said, yes, good to see Charmaine, another gold member in the house. So you see what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that this is doable. And now you kind of say, all right, you know what? 90 hours, 80 hours in 90 days, that's not that bad. I can handle that. So if I can handle that, well, our original number that we were trying to get to was 780. So we doubled it, a little more than doubled it, which requires 3 to 4 hours. But again, if you think about it, this is a trick I've used for years, y'all. For all the music teachers in the room, we have always heard, oh, more time, practice, practice, practice. You need to practice more. You need to practice more, right? What I've told parents for years of the young kids, I've told them, no, tell them they can't practice more than 10 minutes. And parents are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, tell your student your mom, your dad, your tell mom and dad tell your kids you're only allowed to practice 10 minutes. Why would you tell your kid that already doesn't want to practice, they can only practice 10 minutes or they can only practice a certain amount? Because it flips the mindset on its head. Now, instead of saying, oh, I got to practice 30 minutes, you start to initiate a limit. And the limit immediately tells the brain more needs to happen in this time. And I need to use this time wisely because I only have 10 minutes to make this work. And if I don't get this right in 10 minutes and I get up, I'm going to feel like this was a waste of time because I mean, I'm going to go watch my cartoons and everything, but 10 minutes went away like that. And I really didn't do the thing I really wanted to do. And it still didn't sound that good. Mom, can I play like at least maybe 12? Like, can I do 15? And then, well, okay, if you want to do 15, but I think you could practice effectively in 10 and only work on the one thing and not just play around and fool around on the piano. Any musicians who know what I'm talking about, please share with me because this is exactly what happens to young musicians and it happens to older musicians and anybody else in the creative space where we think the time allotted is going to make it better, but we don't get effective at the thing that we do at the moment. So what I'm telling most of us is we kind of expand our time and we say we're going to commit the amount of time, but even in those little spurts of working on something, work on it in a way that kind of implies that you don't have as much time as you think you have, that you have less time because your brain will then focus on making that time effective when you feel you have less instead of feeling like you have more. When you feel like you have all the time in the world, you kind of waste it. When you feel like you have only a little bit of time, you actually increase your effectiveness. So you have to kind of play with your brain a little bit. This is a hack that you can do for practice is convince yourself you don't have a lot of time. You've only got a short amount of time to get this done and to figure it out. And your brain starts to say, well, in that case, we're kicking into overdrive and we're going to make sure that we nail this or we're going to do this. And you have to put yourself in that mentality of really making sure that you are focused on the thing that you're going to do. And that's what, again, we talked about Angela Duckworth and deliberate practice. 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. And so the only way, if anybody agrees with me here, let me know in the chat because I'd love to hear some of you guys think about what do you think about deliberate practice, becoming unmistakably excellent. Have you ever struggled to make creative time, like actual creative time? Does your mind flip all over the place? But I really want to know the answer to this question is, do you feel more time at your instrument, your craft, your writing, your art? Is that time actually effective? How have you made it effective? Or is it just like, hey, you need to spend more, like, just sit down the instrument and do it? Like, what kind of practice do you do? That's what I'm trying to find out from us before we head out, because I'd love to get some questions and answers going as we close this up. Want to remind everybody that we have some live viewers. I would like to give this away. And now that we have a few live viewers, last couple of days, I didn't do any kind of giveaway or any slides or kind of, but I think we could do it this time. Although I think Simony, you already have Master One, and I think Charmaine, you also already have it. Yeah, Simony, you already have this book. So I'm not sure the giveaway would be different. You could give it away to somebody else if you want. But so those, I forgot to mention this. We talked about this yesterday. Simony, since this is going to become a board meeting, so we're going to have a board meeting in front of y'all. So we're going to have our God and Gigs Gold board meeting. So I had talked to LaShonda yesterday, and in our live stream we said maybe we should do a book club. I think Charmaine, you mentioned this too, that we should do a book club, and just each month we're going to do a book, and we would make it public which book we're reading. But only those who are in God Gigs 360 get to do like the live. We talk about the book. We share what we learned from the book. We talked about this earlier, remember? And we just never did it. So I think this is the year to do it. I think this is the year where, like, get off the couch, stop procrastinating. Like Nike says, just do it. My friend Lavi was hitting me up like, yeah, just do it. She says, yeah. All right, that's 2 votes. So here's my idea. The list of books. I'm gonna go. Let me do this quick. Let me see. Where can I get? Because Lashonda was sending me some of the ones. I want to see what's already in our library in recommended books. Oh, Semony, you're gonna love this. Wait, hold up. I gotta share. Gotta share screen. This is great. Because I haven't checked this out. This is at guidedgigs.com/books, by the way. Chrome tab. There we go. All right. So here's the library. Y'all see this, right? I was trying to invite Leah and it didn't send. Oh, because it's online. Anyway. So you see this here? You guys are seeing this? Look whose book is inside the library. Oh, who is that? I know that person. So, we could use your book as part of the book club. Obviously, okay, so here's the one I'm recommending for like the month of monetization. We would do profit first. I think, let me keep going. Next page. Atomic Habits would likely be the one we would do next month. I want to do one for vision. And then this one is more for musicians. If you haven't checked this out, Charmaine, you would love this book. I need you to check out The Savvy Musician. David Cutler was preaching the stuff we've been talking about back in 2000. This book is like 25 years old. And like, I still have not seen a book better written to the average musician. You didn't know that? Hello, you didn't know that you were in the library? Come on now, of course you're gonna support our own. I mean, what do you think? What are we doing? What are we even doing if we don't support our own authors in Guided Gigs 360? I love this. So yeah, so I think our first book would be something on spiritual alignment. So we might do Call to Create. Yes, I know, but it's still crazy. Yes, but of course, like this is what we're doing. All right. So we might do Call to Create by Jordan Rayner. We might just do all the Jordan Rayner books. That could be like a whole thing. There's also, well, there was Trent's book, which I just saw, and I should have pulled that up. Trent's Sounds for Heart. It's for musicians, but not really just for musicians. So that's another possibility, but it's a kind of a short book, and we already have my devotional. So we kind of have like 2 devotionals. We don't want to give people 1,000 devotionals. I know a lot of people do devotionals at the same time. They'll be doing devotionals for their church. Metro has a devotional. Like a lot of people will be doing devotionals. So we may not do another devotional for the book club. But yeah, I think we'll pick one definitely before the 13th, our first mastermind meeting. We'll definitely pick a book so that we can get started with. And we'll go from there. All right, so it's 11. It's 1:55, 1:57. We're almost out of time. I'll try to keep this within an hour. Let me quickly talk about the. Oh, I said the giveaway. So, I need to know if we have any first-time watchers because I see that there's 3, and I know a couple of our people who are already members here. So I wonder if we have any first-time members. If there's any first-time members, I would want you to have the giveaway. But you will have to comment because I have to see that you're here. And I see everybody's watching on YouTube right now. So if there's anybody that is watching for the first time, or maybe has never commented before, I would love to see you because I would love to give you our copy of Master of One. But I'm going to give you another 4 minutes, and then the giveaway is going to pass on, and we're going to I guess we'll table it because a couple of giveaways I didn't give away because nobody accepted it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to roll it over. So someone tomorrow will get the book. But I want to make sure that we give away something, at least try to give away something every time. And so this will be the giveaway for today. If anybody wants to say, hey, I'm the first time, or you want to invite somebody real quick and say, hey, you want to get something free, jump in to the live stream. Okay, so Last but not least, let me book this a little bigger so you guys can see it. I've got this so small that I can't see my own writing. All right, so let's move that out the way. So, reminder that if you are watching now, here are the prescriptions, the things to do next. I always mention to subscribe and follow to share the podcast. Our latest episode was godandgeeks.com/316 on basically these 12 themes. Okay, so the 12 themes that we talked about. Register for PodFest if you want to join me in Orlando. That's in 3 weeks. That'll be the 16th through the 19th. Would love to see some of you. Reminder that I am offering one-on-one coaching for those of you who want to start the year off and you need more than just I know it sounds weird to say, but more than just membership. You need more than just connection. You need like a one-on-one coach. And some people, I'll never forget, the first year that I started doing this, I had a bunch of people ask me and say, hey, do you do one-on-one coaching? And foolish me, I was like, no, I don't do one-on-one coaching. And I probably missed out on a lot of money because I just was like, no, membership's only. And I was like, oh God, like I just threw some people like basically missed out on helping them. And because I kind of had a lot of imposter syndrome back then, I didn't even think about doing one-on-one coaching. So I know I said to people that you could only get $300 off through January 1st. Well, today's January 1st. So I will say this is the last day to get $300 off for early booking. After that, no more on that. Simony says, highly recommend one-on-one. Thank you for that. So if you're watching our replay, today's the final day to get $300 off early booking because basically, honestly, and this is a very, very transparent moment for me. Okay, be straight up. My schedule is not going to allow for a lot of one-on-one coaching in the next basically week. It's going to become like impossible for me to have any more spots, which means the spots that are left become more and more valuable. And I got to protect my time so that I can give my best to those who I've committed my time to. I cannot commit my time to more people and not give them my best, which means every single hour becomes more and more valuable. So that is my reasoning. As you can kind of see, I'm just being very straight up with you for saying, oh no, if you guys don't book now, my schedule will literally become impossible to book. And that means that I can't give you my time because my time becomes more and more valuable. And it's like, okay, I said yes to these people. And as my friend Alex Sanfilippo says, every yes must be protected by 1,000 no's. And so 1,000 no's includes 1,000 no's to people who might want my one-on-one coaching. What is the cost? Charmaine Michelle says, okay, so the cost as of now with the $300 off, I believe I can pull this up. If you go to alancepaul.com/private.coaching or -coaching, I actually need to look this up because I kind of don't remember. I believe it was $897 for 12 weeks, which was it might have been $897 or $997. I literally cannot remember right now. I'm not trying to make this up and just try to be like coy with you. Like I literally don't remember at this moment. I'm going to look it up literally right in front of you. See what I was doing here because I forgot. $997, $979. There it is. Okay, $979. Okay, so $979, and that was for 12 weeks. Okay, so that's honestly a lot. 3 months access, weekly direct one-on-one coaching. So that's, yeah, wow. I didn't realize I did that. That's a lot. So yeah, I'm doing 3 months. That's 3 months, and I'm giving $300 off of the 3 months as of today. So I kind of just realized I painted myself into a corner because I just said that my time is valuable, and now I just basically admitted that I'm willing to do it for what amounts to $250 a month, which is like a lot, not a lot. So I kind of, yeah. Just do the math on what I just said my time was worth, and now just realize what I just offered for one-on-one coaching, which is, I know coaches that go 10 times that. And yeah, so I'm kind of like, even in my head, I'm like, ooh, I really need to raise that price. I really need to raise that price like tomorrow. So All that to say, the $300 off, use the code early 2025, AlanCPaul.com/private coaching. I'll go ahead and show it to you right here since we were talking about it. There is the actual website and Create a Career Accelerator. And I can only do this. And by the way, this does include membership in Guiding Gigs 360 Gold. It does include the mastermind. So don't think that I'm doing this and then saying, oh, and then you got to add this. Oh, and then you got to add that. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, who are the people that I should be helping that want this help directly and don't know what to do, how to run multiple programs, how to run multiple platforms, how to build creative careers, music business, podcasting. I do a lot of things, and so sometimes it's very hard to explain what I do or how to do it outside of just telling you this is what I do. So it's almost like I'm offering you kind of like a internship inside, and I'm turning it around and I'm helping you build your thing instead of you helping build my thing. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of like a reverse internship where I help you build your thing, okay? But you're kind of like watching as I do it. And that part is like, oh, well, you're doing this. Well, I would do this if I was building that thing. And we help you build it directly, step by step. And I show you all the things that I've learned over the last 20 years of building platforms. And again, like I said, like, this is kind of like a ridiculously crazy small price now that I think about it. Okay, so yeah. All right, so if you want to get that, again, this is the last chance for that. I wasn't going to talk a lot about it, but I'm glad you guys like at least pushed me to at least even know what I was talking about, because I forgot. That is the code if you want to get the $300 off of that price. And it is going to be gone by tonight. And as you heard me say out loud, I will most likely be getting that makeover for 2025. Lots of things to be made over, okay? All right. I am almost done, you guys. Any other questions, send me. You guys know we're going to be getting together on the 13th, as I mentioned. That'll be our first mastermind of 2025. I mentioned Your Art, God's Heart, starting on the 10th. Go ahead and get that at guidinggigs.com. I'm sorry, at yourartgodsheart.com. You can now get that directly through that website. One more tip. You know, I'm full of tips today. I need to get off, but I'm full of tips. If y'all have an idea for a book and you're not sure if, like, even if you think you're going to make the book and you think you have the title, get the domain. Just buy the domain, because I did not own this domain and my book is named this. And I was like, why didn't I not buy Your Art, God's Heart when I wrote the book, Your Art, God's Heart? Like, I wrote a book called Guiding Gigs and I grabbed the domain Guiding Gigs. I wrote a devotional called Your Art, God's Heart. So if you have, and most of these names sometimes are not that expensive, because a lot of these names are not like, you know, book.com or something like that. That would be crazy expensive, and you just know where you can get it. But if you have an idea for a short title and it's available, like, grab it. Because I learned this, honestly, I learned this from one of my conferences that I went to in 2014. She said it, and the second she said it, I was like, you're right. Like, I need to own that domain. And because if someone else owns it, that means they're taking people away from my book or away from my album or away from my thing. So I definitely, like, this was one of those things that I learned from a conference. I'm going to be going to more conferences this year. That's one of my goals this year. Even in 360 Gold, we're talking about the goals we have. All right, y'all, but I do need to go. I need to finish this up. We have some New Year's. I don't know. My wife and I just want to, like, get some New Year's planning done, some cleaning up. We want to go hang out a little bit, kind of enjoy the day. So again, if you want to join the challenge, get Your Art, God's Heart before the 10th. We're going to start reading together the 10th. The whole goal is to try to finish the entire book by the 31st, which makes sense to start by the 10th. And this gives you time to get the book if you want to get your copy. Oh, and I didn't do this. I wanted to do like another edition with written pages in it, because I didn't leave any room in the actual book for, like, journaling. I didn't get the chance to do that yet. So I'll just be honest with you. It's not available yet. But if I do, I will let you guys know, and I will just ship that to you free of charge. So if you get the book and I do another edition later just let me know and email me at alan@godandgigs.com, and I will get you a free version if I do another edition which has writing pages in it, because I really want mine to have writing pages. It doesn't, and I kind of realized it was just an annoying kind of thing that, a lot of people like to write in the book physically, and I should have provided that. But that's all there is for today. Day 8 is tomorrow. Am I going to keep going? Yes. Are you getting value out of this? Because if you are getting value, like it, share it, subscribe. If you are getting value, this is a value for value concept that we share here. You'll hear more about this. I'm sharing more about this every year from our friends in Podcasting 2.0. Value for value. If you got value, then share value with someone else. Share this with someone. You can share value by buying something, obviously. That's treasure. You can share by adding talent, which means if you have like an idea for a logo, for doing some graphic arts for us, for helping with our social media. Simony is a perfect example of giving talent. She gives her talent back to God and Gigs all the time. She's an ambassador. So she gives her time and her talent and her treasure, because she does buy products. Okay, so she gives all three, time, talent, and treasure, value back to God and Gigs. So if you want to be a part of the community, that's how you become a part of the community. You give your time, your talent, or your treasure. Charmaine, same thing, gives time, talent, treasure. She literally helped us create an entire spreadsheet for half of our different events. She creates these incredibly insanely organized templates that we can use. And I'm like, how? I don't think like you think. How do you do this? She provides her talent, and she provides her treasure. She provides her time. She's doing that right now. And so those of you who want to share in God and Gigs 360 this year, let me tell you, the best way for you to join any organization and to become a part of something great is to provide time, talent, or treasure. And that's how you grow as an organization. That's how you grow relationships. And that's how you grow as a creative. So I'll add that last little sprinkle in there, y'all. Okay. So time, talent, and treasure. Time, share this. Tell people we got 5 more days of the 12 days to your best creative year ever. You got 12. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Appreciate you so much. I will see you guys in 360. Our chat has been blowing up. I don't know if you guys saw, but earlier I showed the chat was blowing up. So yeah, things are going amazingly in God and Gigs. But Happy New Year again, everyone. I hope you have an amazing rest of the year. But I hope I see you tomorrow, because I will be back here. We will all be back here for day 8 of the 12 days to your best creative year ever. So until next time, guys, enjoy your New Year's celebration. And until next time, continue to become the creative that you were created to be. See you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. God bless.